This is Journey to Spiritual Greatness. I'm Skip.
And I'm Robin.
And it's time for transformation. Robin, hey, how are you?
I'm doing great, Skip.
We're back in the studio. How do you feel?
I'm feeling good.
Yeah.
I'm feeling good. I'm really excited.
Yeah.
I'm excited that we're back in the studio and we are recording 2 more today.
You're recording 2 today. So this one, we're going to do Spirituality 101.
Yes.
And this is what is spirituality. We're going to have our own little discussion about it and all that.
Yes.
But before we jump in, let's catch up because I haven't seen you in a while. What have you been doing?
Well, just life. I've been doing life.
That's a good one. Life is happening.
I have just been doing life.
Yeah.
And the kids started another semester. They're back in school.
Oh, you're homeschooling.
Yes, we
Yeah.
homeschool. And they have semesters. And so it's kind of nice to have that little break because I drive to 2 different campuses to take the kids.
See, I learned that from you. I thought homeschooling, I really had this whole idea. Homeschooling was like y'all sitting at home in front of a computer for 8 hours and just like type.
No,
It
is, and I feel like it's really evolved
Okay.
since even when I started with my son, who is now a teenager.
Right.
And just the resources, the community, everything about it has really evolved. And so, yes, there are some times that we spend online on online school, and we utilize the online resources. But we also like to just get out. We go to museums. We're out in just the world, seeing how the everyday world kind of works.
I love that.
And we also do kind of hands-on stuff.
Yeah.
So we just have a lot of variety, a lot of different. Sometimes we explore through food. You know, my kids are surprisingly really into a lot of different kind of international foods. Blake just tried Indian food last night for the first time.
Really? For the first time?
And he loved it.
They
he
loved
loved it.
What did you have?
We had chicken tikka masala.
Okay.
And
That's a mouthful.
I know. And then
Yeah.
Grayson loves herself some garlic naan like nobody's business. And it's my favorite.
The naan is the bread, right?
Yes, with a lot of garlic.
I'm off of bread right now.
I know.
I'm
Because you're
just
so
off
good and you don't
of-
eat
no,
carbohydrates.
I've been so bad. This week I was with our friend Emily yesterday, and I had sweet potato fries. I know, and I'm not supposed to be having carbs right now. I'm good carbs, but not the starchy stuff. But they were
Because Skip,
so good.
I know you can't see this right now, but because Skip needs to be even leaner and more fit. He's already very fit, you guys. You can see his muscles through his shirt. That's how fit he is.
We have our own stuff. I have my own stuff going on. But the sweet potato fries were the best sweet potato fries
Those
ever.
are actually good for you. Sweet potato is good
It's
for you.
really, really good for you, but they were fried, so maybe not so good. But
It's like a little cheat. It's like
right.
an indulgence. You enjoy it in the moment, right? You don't eat that way every day. It's okay to have this kind of indulgence
Absolutely.
once in a while.
So you had Indian food. Now, is that your jam? Because mine is Thai food. I'm a Thai food, Thai.
Don't make me make saute for you. Don't make me. I make it from scratch.
Do you
okay?
really?
The cucumber, everything.
Everything?
And my kids devour it. I mean, like, Dean, everybody.
Yeah.
I gotta like almost kind of grab it in the moment because I make a big batch of it. My kids love
it.
The chicken saute. So I just kind of started, I cook a lot of different kinds of food, but I just last year started to dabble in Thai food.
Yeah.
And I'm part Thai.
Because you're a big foodie.
I'm part Thai.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I'm a mix.
Yeah?
A big mix. I'm not gonna list everything.
but
But I do have. I know. But I do have some Thai. And I've never just learned to make it. So
I love it.
It's something I'm exploring right now, and it's really fun.
Why do you think food? I mean, you're a opinion, because you're a foodie, and I'm a foodie too. I've cooked. I've written a cookbook. Why is food so important to us, and why does it? It's actually a bit of spirituality. It's not a bit of spirituality for me. It is a spiritual thing.
Right.
What do you feel like? Why food
You know
is
what?
such a spiritual thing for us?
For me, growing up, my mom always said that cooking and food was a way to show love. So growing
Yeah.
up, and I have a lot of girlfriends that have a different kind of relationship with food
Right.
and those kind of things. And I've had a really great relationship because it always meant love. It always meant when you cooked for someone, you showed them an act of love.
Right.
And growing up, that's what we always did. So I always watched my mom make these huge dishes because we had a lot of friends that were our family, and everyone would gather to our house. My brother's friends, everybody, my friend, they all loved to come to our house, and we'd
Place
have
to
these.
be.
Yeah, because it felt, and it feels. It just feels like a very loving act.
What did
that
your mom
you
love to
share.
cook for you guys?
She made. So I was raised in Virginia. So we had some.
Really?
Yes. Look,
You a
he's
Southern
learning
girl?
all this
You're a
stuff
Southern
about
girl.
me
I
right
know.
now.
My family's from Alabama.
Yeah. So I was actually I was
That's
born
great.
in Thailand,
Okay, right.
but I did not stay there long.
Okay.
And I was raised on the Air Force Base in Washington D.C.
Okay, wait. You know I'm Air Force too, right?
I know. So is my dad and my sister.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
Okay,
I was
okay.
raised,
Yeah.
and Washington D.C. is 20 minutes outside of Virginia. So I lived in all different places in Virginia,
Okay.
and I lived there for probably a good part of my life till about almost 14,
Yeah.
and then I moved to California. So. That's another funny story. But when I moved here, I had that Southern accent, right? And then I had an Irish last name. So they're like, what's going on
Shy
here,
girl,
right?
Irish
And then,
last
like, I look like an
name. I love
island girl. So you're like, what's happening here? So,
Mahalo, baby.
yeah, mahalo.
I love it.
So every once in a while, you hear me
Yes.
say my little, little Southern twang, or you'll hear that come out, or you'll hear me have my little, verses that I say kind of thing. And
Does your mom cook soul food?
she cooked comfort food.
Oh, okay. Okay.
But I guess it could have been like Southern.
Yeah, well, okay,
food
let me tell you what
because-
soul food is, because my mama we're from Alabama, so it's like fried chicken,
Oh, for
macaroni
sure.
and
Yeah,
cheese,
we had all that. We had all that.
biscuits.
So we call that comfort food.
Shrimp and
We call that
grits. You
comfort
know, yeah, so we call it
So-
soul food, y'all.
Yeah, and I
Greens.
was just telling my girlfriend how
Yes.
we would go on Sundays.
I'm hungry now.
I know how we'd go to Sundays, and we had this huge picnic. Everyone would gather in the park, and I remember it was always fried chicken. I wouldn't eat any other fried chicken unless my mama made the fried chicken, and it was like watermelon
Yeah.
slices and just tons of food, macaroni salad. I mean, all the stuff to share
Food
with
is love.
everyone.
Food is
And
love.
everyone would just gather, and we'd stay there for hours enjoying each other's company. People don't do that so much anymore unless
Why
it's like a
is that?
celebration.
What do you think? Why we're not doing it? Because I have
don't
my
know.
opinion
I
about it, but
miss
what's your opinion? I miss it too.
I miss that. I remember like my parents always having friends stop by for like dinner, an
Yeah.
impromptu dinner, or just gathering. It wasn't a celebration like a birthday or anything. You just went
Sunday
to the
dinner.
park. Right.
Sunday dinner.
Right. We did that. And so I don't know. I think that maybe it's just not a priority
Yeah.
like it was before. I think that maybe with schedules and working and all that kind of stuff that people don't maybe make time for that like it used to be.
We used to do it after church, and it was a big thing. We would go to church and be at church, maybe go to the early service and then stay for mid service, and then after that we would go have dinner or whatever, and then go back to late night service. Sunday was a big family
Right.
church day, food day.
Right.
And we actually, my family still participates quite a bit in that. I don't so much being in California.
Right.
You think it's where we live?
I don't know, maybe. I mean, I just feel like I definitely didn't experience the same way when I moved to
Right.
California.
Right.
Being raised in Virginia, and I think you just kind of have to make it a priority, and you have to really kind of establish that. We really try to dedicate our Sundays to family time.
Family time.
And if we weren't at home making stuff, then we'd go out and do something.
Right.
And I think it just kind of, you have to create that habit. It has to be a priority that's something that you're going to do because it's important, and it's a time to really connect. We have a really unique situation because my husband and I both work at home, and I work at the
Right.
studio. So we are very blessed to be able, and we homeschool our kids, so we're around each other a lot.
You've created your culture for your family,
Yes.
which we're kind of talking about today anyway, spiritual practices,
Yes.
spirituality 101.
Right.
And I believe that the family is our spiritual unit.
Right. Absolutely.
And, one of the things that I miss and being, single gay male, not
Right.
really having, I have my family that I've created. I have my best
Absolutely.
friend, Bill.
Right.
I have a few people from my spiritual community. We get
Right.
together. We don't do it on a regular basis. And I think
Right.
that's something that I'm really missing in my own spiritual practice.
Right.
That gathering of maybe a potluck every Sunday or coming
Yeah.
together or just being a potlucks.
Right.
Love potlucks.
I love potlucks.
Love potlucks unless there's someone is bringing some nasty ass ambrosia. You know that ambrosia stuff? You know. Oh my God.
My dad loves that stuff.
Oh really?
We were saying how
Oh.
Duffy loves that.
Oh no, y'all.
But
It's like-
everything else. That's why the potluck. That's why you have a variety.
Right, a
to
variety
choose
of
from.
things.
But
variety
it's
of
the
things.
community of gathering
Yeah.
and just spending time with people, you
Yeah.
know,
Oh.
and your loved ones and those that support and honor and respect you. That's an important. That should be your natural environment.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
You know. And so, and I think that when you spend time with people, that's another gift you're giving. You know, our time is very valuable here, in our time on the planet, right? And so you have to be mindful about who you spend it
Spend
with.
your time with.
Right.
Yeah.
There's things that you kind of have to do every day or whom you have to interact with, but being mindful, being mindful of choosing who you spend your valuable life force time with.
It's absolutely important because, that connection that that's a spiritual practice of who we're
Yes.
going to share our energy with
Yes.
and vibration and frequency. I don't jam with everybody. I don't
Right.
get along with a lot of people.
Right.
There's certain people that I get along with and we are like this.
Right.
And like when I first met you, it was like, okay, yeah, we're going to roll,
He said,
this is
"Hey,
really
sister
good.
girl."
Hey girl, hey girl, hey. But we're talking about creating spiritual practice. What is your go-to spiritual practice? What do you do?
So every morning I make it a priority to meditate. That's kind of how I like to set the tone for the day.
Right.
Before I even start meditating, I start with my thank yous. So the first thing that comes to mind is
Yeah.
I thank God
Yeah.
for this day, for this life, for this breath.
Mm.
And then I go down the list, right? For
Yeah.
my children, for my husband, and so forth. And then I go into meditation.
Yeah.
And I like to do, sometimes they're like 20 to 30 minutes. It feels
Yeah.
you're so in it as you practice more in
And it can be
meditation.
shorter, longer.
Absolutely. Sometimes I do shorter ones during the day if I
Right.
just need to kind of
Recenter.
to center myself.
Mhm.
And I'll go outside and kind of sit there or anywhere. And so I kind of start with that. And I actually kind of have a long process. And so
I love you have that ability and it's not a luxury, it's just an openness space to create. I'm on the other end, don't have that time because
Right.
it's like, okay, my client's at 6:15. So I know
I'm,
I have a client
I'm making a
Tuesday,
scary
Wednesday, and
face. I'm not a
Thursday.
morning person.
Scary face right here. So, and then when I get up at 5 o'clock. First thing I do is I really sit and I breathe.
Yes.
Sometimes that's my only meditation I get
But that
in the
brings
morning.
you to present moment as you're breathing because
But-
people forget about that.
But then I'll get back to it later on. The other thing too is I know, and I've brought you into is my gratitude list every day.
Yes, I love
And
it.
I was told that if you share your gratitude, it doubles, triples, quadruples.
Absolutely.
So I have my
Absolutely.
list of 12 people I share my gratitude list with.
Right.
And it's just opened me up. It's actually shifted me because after the new year, I was going, okay, 2020 is going to be amazing. I went to a very dark couple of weeks.
Yeah.
And we're I'm coming out of it now.
I feel like everyone has felt that in January.
I don't know. We all had these big hopes that 2020 was going to jump off, but it was a lot of challenges.
It was
the
about
first 2 weeks.
cleansing. That's what it was. So
Was it?
when people thought, oh, it's going to be like, we're hitting hard and this stuff.
Yeah.
Guess what? The universe is like, yeah, you are going to hit it hard. You're going to cleanse
I love it.
everything that you carried in from the last year.
Right.
So, and the reason it's not a punishment, it's
Right.
to prepare you to release that energy so you don't carry it on through this year, right? But it was kind of a carry on over because last year was a pretty intense year. the end of that decade was the closing was a pretty intense year. A lot of people felt it. And so it was kind of a residual. It was a leftover, tying up the loose ends, continuing to release what no longer serves us.
Right.
And that's an ongoing process. But
Ongoing.
that's what January, that's why you see the little jokes about people are like, January was the longest year that I've experienced.
Exactly. It was tough. It was tough coming out of December, which was already just shaking people up, including myself. And then we jumped into January. What I realized was there wasn't a time of real absolute healing and releasing of 2019.
Right.
I brought a lot of 2019 into 2020.
Right.
And I'm still feeling the residual energy of that, but there is absolutely a healing process.
Yes.
The one thing I realized about healing, and which is a spiritual practice as well, that if I'm not willing to feel it, I won't be able to heal it.
Right, exactly.
And this last couple of weeks in 2020 has been really feeling my own stuff.
Yes.
And so then I'm feeling it, I'm dealing with it, and I'm healing. I'm letting it go, and I feel much, much better.
Yes.
So meditation, and I want the listeners to understand, meditation has somewhere a misconception of what meditation is.
Yes.
Meditation means mindfulness. So sometimes I do a walking meditation,
Yes, there's different
breathing
kinds.
meditation. I'm having the best nuts ever, and I'm enjoying these nuts right now. Thank you, Robin.
You're welcome.
We should get a little hit from my favorite nuts in the whole world from Trader Joe's.
The truffle.
My truffle.
Marconas.
Oh my God. They're like, I can't stop eating them.
They're so good.
So good. But that is even a spiritual practice of when I eat and I taste the truffles, I'm going and it's going down my body. I'm feeling so good. So my other spiritual practice has really been just listening.
Yes.
And I've been using an app, and my go-to is, because I'm a teacher on it, is Insight Timer. But there's a lot of great apps. Do you use any apps? Do you listen to like Headspace or Calm or any of that? Do you ever use any?
I have used Headspace before. What I find, because you have to find your space, you have to find out what works for you.
What works
sometimes
for you? Yes.
listening to music works. Sometimes a guided meditation works.
Right.
Sometimes no sound works.
Yep.
I think it really just depends. I have a playlist of music that resonates with me.
Oh.
And so I listen to it, not really loud. It's kind of like a background, so I can still be present to hear all the sounds around me. And that helps me kind of go into my meditation. If I'm outside, I enjoy not having any music. I like to listen to the natural sounds of outside. I have these wind chimes outside, and it just...
Love wind chimes.
I love it.
Love wind chimes.
And you have to find the perfect chime, right?
I know, because some of them are not.
Yeah, you're like, no. And
whoa.
so I have the perfect chimes outside,
yeah.
and just I have you have the birds, and it's so wonderful. So it just really kind of depends on your mood, but I don't utilize those apps. In the beginning, I did utilize Headspace.
Right.
When I was learning and practicing what worked for me, and it changes.
And there's a starting point for everyone. Everyone
Yes.
finds their own way, and I always say the practice will find you.
Yes.
When you're open to finding the practice.
Absolutely.
So, and I found myself in the beginning doing guided meditations and then getting more still, but now I'm going back into that place of guided, because my mind is always racing.
Right.
And it helps me to calm it down, breathe, and be still. What I'm loving right now is Calm on my Apple TV.
Oh.
My Apple TV has a app Calm, and you click on it. They have pictures.
Oh, I
and
like that.
They have like waterfalls and the ocean and Sam Smith.
See, that's what okay, you're hilarious.
No, I'm serious. Sam Smith has created this music for us to meditate by. But there's a picture of Sam Smith while you're listening to Sam
there really
Smith.
is a picture.
Child, yes.
Oh my gosh. I'm like, what?
Come on, this is real.
Okay.
Come on, it's all spiritual though, but but it's so good. I love that we get to find what works for us.
Yes.
What works for us. Do you do yoga? Are you a yogi?
You know what? I have dabbled in it. I'm going to be honest, okay? So I have a lot
would
of
be a no.
friends that are yogis. And
I love your face.
And
with
so
that. That is so good.
I have moments when I go outside, and I will do some of the poses that I do know. And then I always say to myself, why don't you do this more often? You actually like how it feels. Like
Right,
you like
right.
it, you love the feeling and it's another way of having energy flow and balance. Doing yoga. And
Right,
so I don't know why. I think again it's just something I have to make kind of a practice
right.
because I enjoy it. When I go out there, I'm out on the grass in the backyard and I start doing it and I'm like,
Mm,
I like this. Why don't I do this more
yeah,
often?
yeah.
And so I actually have a couple times too had a gal come over. This is a couple years ago, and we laid out a whole bunch of mats, and I had a whole bunch of my close friends come over, and
Mm,
we had a yoga session because some of us had never actually had like done a formal yoga session.
yeah.
And it was so fun. And then after we had breakfast together and we kind of just reflected upon,
Mhm.
everything. And we're just like, why don't we
Why don't
do
we
this
do
more
more of
often?
this? Why don't we do more of this?
Right. I mean, I've had my experiences too where I don't know how I ended up in this class, but I ended
Mhm.
up in a class one time, that one that's the hot yoga. Oh my gosh. That was the most hysterical class I've ever been in and what was hysterical
Right.
was my one of my best friends. We like to try all different kinds of workouts. And so looking over at him and seeing him look at me like, what are we doing and how do we get in here? And it was the
The
funniest
sweat,
thing.
right?
We were drenched
Oh my
and we
God.
were laughing so hard. And you're supposed to be like, be
Right.
mindful.
Yeah.
And we were looking at each other and it was just like the best. And I think that's another form of, healing is
Yeah.
laughter, but we couldn't really laugh.
Oh, in my
So
class,
when I think of the yoga,
I teach heated yoga, and I have had people like you in my class to show up going, first of all, I didn't know this was heated yoga.
yeah, and we refused to leave. That was the other
Right,
thing.
you don't leave out of yoga class,
refused-
yes.
We're like, there's a pregnant woman in here, and she is doing the
She's
hot
go-
yoga.
So I'm gonna stay in this,
We are going
y'all.
to stay, and we stayed, but we're like, okay, that was an interesting experience.
I love that though, but it's like yoga for me actually healed me.
Mhm.
Yoga actually, I started teaching yoga about 20 years ago,
Uh-huh.
and practicing yoga maybe about 30 years ago. And I found the space where I really got in touch with my body.
Mhm.
And truth be told, where I'm really quiet in my mind is when I'm practicing yoga.
Yeah, I believe
And
it.
that is my real, I guess I meditate. Yes, I pray a lot. I'm a big
Yes.
prayer, but where I feel fully integrated with mind, body, spirit
Right.
is in yoga classes
I
and
believe that.
teaching and practicing. I
Mhm.
took this, oh my goodness, last night I took this yoga class. I was so tired. I had taught a lot of classes. I did the commute down the 405,
Oh my
got back
gosh.
to teach one more class down in LA. And then my friend took my class who was teaching the class after. So I'm like, well, Robert's in my class, so I'm going to have to stay for Robert's class.
Oh my gosh.
It was restorative yoga class, but
Okay.
it was good. But here's the funny thing. I fell asleep. I started snoring.
Yes. I would have been like, yes, I love that guy right there.
I was
He's
snoring. I
feeling
woke
it.
myself up snoring. I went, okay, hold up here. But but the lesson I got from that was I'm not getting enough rest.
Yes.
And rest is a spiritual practice as well.
Absolutely. It's an act of self-love.
Active self-love.
Mhm.
My good. What are the other practices of self-love that you like to tap into? You do
when I-
Reiki though. You're a Reiki master.
I do. I do Reiki. That's something that I'm very connected with.
Mhm.
I do it pretty often.
Yeah.
And not only do I do it in the studio, but I'm fortunate enough to do it when I'm doing distance sessions at home.
You've done it for me.
Right.
You sent me some really good frequency vibes, and it's been like, yes, Chaw, I feel it. I feel it waking up the next morning going,
Yay! I love that. I love that.
ta-da!
Yes.
I'm new, y'all. I'm new.
Absolutely. That is what, So
Yes.
that's something I get to do often.
Okay.
And I do a lot of journaling. That is something
I love
that
journaling.
when I'm communicating, I'm blessed to have the ability to communicate easily with angels. That's one of the ways that I utilize to communicate so I can kind of save the information to share with people.
Yeah.
And so I do a lot of that. I do work out. I do Pilates, right?
Pilates good.
Right, I do.
You know?
Because it. I definitely need to move my body.
So what you're talking about is the physical. The physical practice, the physical movement is spiritual,
Right.
Because we are mind, body,
and
and we're
spirit.
connected to spirit.
Yeah.
Spirit is activated when we move.
Right.
So
Absolutely.
when you work out, that is a spiritual practice.
Right. Absolutely.
And so I love that you're talking about Pilates.
Right.
Absolutely.
You
It's
have
good.
to have, a good balance is to have the emotional and the mental state, right, and the physical state. So you may be really great at meditating
Yeah.
and journaling, those kind of things.
But
But if you're not moving your
Mhm.
physical being and allowing the energy to flow and connect, then things can become imbalanced.
So
It
do
is
you
very
do the
necessary.
reformer, Cadillac? You get on the
I
reformer.
do the reformer.
I hate that.
And
I'm sorry. I gotta be honest. I'm like that with Pilates or reformer, like you are with yoga.
Yeah.
I've been on one.
Okay.
It's not my go-to
Well,
girl.
it's funny because
It's tough.
our girl, we call it Pilates Fusion.
Ooh,
Because
you gotta put the fusion in
she
there.
does not just a reformer
Yeah.
and Cadillac, but and then she has all the other contraptions there, right? But
Mm-hmm.
she also has a bar for bar movements.
Mm.
She also makes you jump on boxes, and she makes you so it's like a fusion.
Yeah.
We're doing all kinds of varied workout in the amount of time, and I actually really enjoy it because I've done Pilates for many, many years,
Right.
and until I met her, we had the fusion situation. And so we were able to, it allows us to try different things and really shake it up. It's never the same except the warm up, on the reformer. But after that, it's like
We're gonna fuse it.
everything.
Everything.
Yeah,
bring
you
it
don't
in,
know
bring
what
it
she's going to give you. She loves burpees, by the way. And
Wait a minute. Hold it.
we do a
Burpees
lot
and
of
Pilates?
burpees. Oh,
Pilates
yeah.
fusion?
Oh,
I
yeah.
love that.
I mean, I'm telling you, it's everything. Like she's got boxes we're jumping on. We're jumping on and off boxes. We are
I
doing
think
a
I may
lot.
have to go see Sister Girl.
Oh my gosh, you would love her. She's amazing. She is another warrior of the light.
Oh.
And her way
I love
of,
that
I think,
term.
sharing her light is definitely through her workout and her
Mm.
her dedication. She's also a second degree working on her third degree black belt. She's pretty,
Don't you mess with her, girl.
Yeah,
Don't you mess
she's
with her.
pretty, you know what?
But I love that you brought in the light workers because I truly believe that spiritual practices helps us to and guides us to help other people
Absolutely.
to connect with their own lights.
Absolutely.
And this is the benefit of our own work we do.
Yes.
The other thing that I'm learning, especially right now, we have a lot of issues that are going on around us. We just lost Kobe,
Yes.
which broke my heart.
Yes.
And I had the opportunity to have met him a couple times and in different situations. But then also with the stuff that's happening, that we feel so well divided
Right.
from what you believe and what you believe and what your political stands are. The truth is, we are one.
Yes.
And I believe that the spiritual practices brings us back to a realization of we are one.
Yes.
We're connected. It
Right.
heals us.
Right.
So the work we do in our own spiritual practices will actually shift the vibration of the planet.
Yes, we want to create vision and not division.
Hey ho!
so-
Right, that's a tweetable moment, y'all. Write that down.
Tweet it. And so,
Yes.
yes, but that is what that's what the purpose here is.
Yeah.
I mean, is to have that kind of get out that information and share that we are one in unity.
Yes.
You can have your own opinions.
Exactly.
You can dress how you want to dress and look how you want to look, but at the end of the day, we are all connected.
So
Through
connected.
the same energy. We all, go back to the same source, return to the source, created through source. So it's important to create that vision of unity and
Right.
other people feel that and live that way in their life. It is not about division. It is about vision. And so
You just said something really, and I want the listeners to hear this. The word you said was source. And what we are meaning by source is there is one source power that's created this planet, that's created everything.
Everything.
And we are all connected to that same source.
Yes.
I am firm believer that people who have forgotten that are the ones who are acting from the ego
Yes.
that's dividing us. They've forgotten where we came from.
Yes.
And that's a spiritual practice. This is why we're calling this a journey to spiritual greatness.
Yes.
It's actually returning back to source and recognizing source.
Absolutely.
So we're going to close this one up. This has been so good, but I want to ask you if you can tell our listeners one thing they can do to maybe tap more into their spiritual practice. What do you think?
Let's see. One thing is just find something that resonates with you. If it's through working out, if it's through walking meditation, you kind of get both things in there.
Yeah.
If it's yoga, if it's any form of workout that brings you joy, makes you feel stronger and aware, or, finding your own version of kind of meditation. I feel like meditation is such an important way to keep people present.
It's the mother load of
Right.
all.
So if you
spiritual
can
practice.
find one that resonates with
Right.
you, it will not be the same for everyone.
Right,
But
right.
find something that speaks to you and get in the practice, make it a priority and
Right.
a habit.
Right.
It really does set your tone for the day. If you can just even get in 5-10 minutes in the morning or end your day with 5 or 10 minutes to close out the night. But just finding something that resonates you to bring you to present.
Yeah.
I think that's really important, is to learn to be present in your life.
That's good. That's good. I think my tip of the day around this is, you said it so eloquently. You tapped it, you knocked it right out of the park here. But I think one thing, if I can say to the listeners, is that the work that we're doing here is so needed right now.
Yes.
It's a shift that's happening on this planet. And we've been talking about this, and I think our next show we're going to be talking about healing modalities and practices that we can do to heal the body. And you said this, that the veil is the veil that separates us from this physical plane to the spiritual plane. It's really thin right now.
Yes.
And we can tap into our spiritual gifts.
Yes.
And this is the time that we get to wake up to the true nature of who we are.
Yes.
And that is a process because, listen, the shift hits the fan.
I love that.
All the time.
I
the
love
shift
that
hits
saying.
the fan. But when it does, we have our tools to get through it.
Yes,
Get through it. I think my last thing I'm going to say on this, that we got to feel it to heal it. We got to feel it to heal it. And everything that we're
Absolutely.
going through our shift, and practice will help us to do this.
Yes.
To feel it, then heal it.
Yes.
I learned so much from you.
I always learn things from you.
This is amazing. All right, guys. So that's it. That's our show for today.
Take
Peace.
care. Bye.
Remember to subscribe where you listen to your podcasts.
And follow us on Instagram and Facebook.